Hi, my name is Jaime González. I'd like to welcome you to our iNaturalist tutorial. I work for the Nature Conservancy in Texas, which is part of the Nature Conservancy, which is the world's largest conservation group. And we are very committed to saving biodiversity across the planet and in your neck of the woods too. And I'm going to show you a app that we are very excited about called iNaturalist. It's a way of getting community science like you to get out and understand more about your neighborhood, about your city, about your region, about your state by going out and observing and documenting what wild things live around you. So in this quick tutorial video, I'm going to share some tips for making good observations in iNaturalist, some good tips for finding wildlife safely, and also just a general introduction to iNaturalist. I will also put in the comments section of this video some helpful links. So I'll put a link to the iNaturalist app, the Seek by iNaturalist app, which is a little bit more simple for folks to use. So if iNaturalist is a little bit more than what you want to take on, Seek by iNaturalist is a really great alternative to that. Another link that I'll put in the comments section, because we don't have time to cover that in this tutorial, is how to make a neighborhood project in iNaturalist for your neighborhood. So if you want to catalog the biodiversity of your neighborhood and have your neighbors help with that, there's a fairly straightforward way of making a project for your neighborhood where you can use that to make checklists of wildlife for your neighborhood. Neighbors can share what they're finding in their backyards or front yards or apartment patios. So that's an exciting way to kind of get engaged in iNaturalist, learning about your neighborhood. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get to the iNaturalist app. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. And I'm going to bring up iNaturalist, one of my very favorites. Now, what I will say is that one of the cool ways of learning about iNaturalist is going to YouTube or Vimeo. They have these wonderful introductory videos to iNaturalist, to the Seek by iNaturalist app, as well as other utilities. So they have lots of learning opportunities. Another great way of learning about the iNaturalist app is by participating in the City Nature Challenge. So City Nature Challenge happens every April, and this City Nature Challenge is already over, and you can see the results by going down to the bottom of this page, which are really outstanding. Across the world, there were 815,000 observations made and over 32,000 species documented. And that was, and it also had 41,000 people who participated, which is outstanding. So if you want to do some iNaturalist stuff this summer, that is great. Also, just remember, in April, we do the City Nature Challenge, which is a challenge between over 200 global cities that are looking to document what's living around them. So I encourage you to kind of explore the City Nature Challenge app. There's a lot of great resources about iNaturalist there as well. We're going to go ahead and go on to the actual iNaturalist page, or the website rather. Okay, and I'm already logged in as Habitat Jaime. That's my handle right there. And one thing that you'll notice here is that you can do lots of things in iNaturalist. So you yourself can carry a checklist of things that you've seen. You can join projects. So see, these are some of the projects that I belong to as a professional biologist, some of which I've created to help document species that I've seen on projects and project areas that I'm working on. This project right here is near and dear to my heart. I created this earlier in the spring for the City Nature Challenge, but now it's still collecting information. This is my neighborhood in Houston, Texas, and it's called Knollwood Village, and I made this project called Knollwood Village Wild. And you can see that there are already 371 species that we've documented here and over 700 observations. So this is becoming a thing in our neighborhood, which is great. One thing I'd like to point out for iNaturalist is that you can explore anything in the world. So let's say that you want to know where they have sighted tigers. Well, I'm going to type in tiger, and let's take a look. There's Panthera tigris, which is the tiger, and I'm going to click on that. And what you'll see when I click on that and hit go, you'll start to see where there have been observations for something like tiger. I'm going to go ahead and click this off. So make sure that you are in the right area. I'm going to click off North America. Okay, now it's loading. So now you can see all these dots are where they've made tiger sightings. Let's say that you're interested in great white shark. So there it is. It's going to load, and you'll see that there's some off the coast of California. There's some down here in South Africa. But let's say that you just want to find out what's living in your county if you live in the United States. So I'm going to put in Harris County, Texas, right there. So you can hit that. And you can see that there have been over 237,000 observations in our county alone, and that constitutes 6,741 species. When I hit that species, you can actually see everything that we've documented as a community of community scientists and professional biologists. That is stunning. So you can see what lives around you, and if you go back to the observations, what you can do is you can zoom in, and each of these dots, give it a second to load, each of these dots is a separate observation. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. Look at all these pins everywhere. This is crazy. And it's very likely that wherever you live, you have a community of people that have been using iNaturalist to document stuff too. You also, one of the great things is that there are observers, and we hope that you're an observer where you go out and you record these species using the iNaturalist app. But then there's also identifiers. So there are over 5,900 identifiers in Harris County. What that means is that that's a whole army of people that are helping people who don't know what they're looking at identify things. And so you don't have to be a professional ecologist, biologist, naturalist to do iNaturalist, because you have a whole crowdsourced army out there willing to help you find out what you're looking at. So this is the iNaturalist app. You download it for either Android or iPhone, and then what you want to do is you want to make good observations. So the next part of this video will show you how do you make observations on your phone using iNaturalist. And then we'll finish off by giving you some tips for finding wildlife safely. All right, so let's go into the next section. Using the iNaturalist app is really, really simple. So I've already preloaded iNaturalist onto my iPhone, but it comes in Android as well for Android phones. So I'm going to click on iNaturalist. And right in the middle, you'll see the Observe button. So I'm going to press the Observe button. And I'm going to remember a couple of rules for taking good pictures. One is that you want to fill the frame with the species that you want to take a picture of. So I'm going to take this picture from here, and that fills the frame, and I'm going to hit Next, because I want to take a picture from several different angles for each organism if I can. So I'm going to take another picture, so I'm going to hit the plus button up here at the top, and I'm going to take it from the side, and then I'm going to hit plus again, and I might take it from underneath, because the more pictures you take, the easier it's going to be for the iNaturalist app or a human identifier to identify it. So I'm going to click Next. Now I'm ready to upload this observation. One of the great things about the iNaturalist app is it has this What Do You See button here. So I'm going to press that. And if there have been a lot of observations of the species, it's going to offer you up a set of suggested identifications. I know this to be Oenothera speciosa right there, which is called pink ladies. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to share it. And at this point, what I'm going to do is you can just add it as an observation, or if you have a project around a school, house of worship, museum, library, wherever you've put a project to capture all the biodiversity observations from that area, you can hit projects. And I can add this to any of these projects that I'm on, and it will make sure that anytime I pull up that project, it will show up. So I'm taking this observation at my house, which we have, as previously stated, called the González Butterwick International Toad Preserve or Reserve. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go back, and I'm going to share. And there it is. It's uploading. And once it's done uploading, it will be pinned to a map. So when I pull it up on the desktop, or if I pull it up on my app here, it will then show up as an observation. Now, you can't always know what a species is. Let's say that I took a picture of a species and I didn't know what it is, so I'm going to click Observe again. And let's say that I wanted to take a picture of this species right here, but I didn't really know what it is. Wasn't familiar with this, so I'm going to take this picture. And if that's a good picture, I'm going to say yes. And for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to go ahead and use that one photo. Usually you take 2 or 3 photos from different angles though. So when I hit what do you see, and I click on this, it may give me something that I can know or not know. It says we're pretty sure that this is in this family of spiderworts. So I don't know that that's the case, so I'm not going to even select that. I'm just going to share it. And I'm not going to share it to my projects this time. But what will happen is dedicated identifiers in the iNaturalist community will try to give me their best guess, not a guess. Oftentimes these people are very skilled experts, but their best estimation of what species it is. And if that happens, my species observation will have a red flag next to it with a number inside. So you can see from this screen that the green anole has a 3 in a black talking symbol there. Well, that's been because I actually already confirmed that identification. But if it's something I haven't identified, it'll look the same, except the background will be red. The field portion of the training, I'm here at what we refer to jokingly as the Butterwick González International Toad Reserve, which is really our yard and our house. We do have a project on iNaturalist that goes along with this that I'll show you in just a bit. And but for now, what I want to do is I want to give you some tips and techniques for finding wildlife in and around your yard. Now, one of the things that I would say is that during this City Nature Challenge for 2020, we're encouraging people to stay closer to home and to use the hashtag backyard challenge, hashtag backyard challenge. And that is really to emphasize that there's lots of really great things living around us. So it's not going to be an in-depth training. I just want to show you around and give you a few hints for what we're doing. Now, what I'd say is there are 2 pieces of equipment that might be really helpful for you. What I have here is my snake hook. Now, I don't expect that you guys would have a snake hook, but whenever you are looking into underneath something, or you're going into a compost heap or under boards or anything, please never put your hands underneath or inside a compost bin or anything like that without first flipping it over with a stick, a broomstick, a large stick from a tree, something like that. Keep yourself at a distance, right? So have something to kind of flip things over and do that very safely. It is springtime, it's warming up. There could be snakes and things like that. We want you to be very, very safe. The second thing is that in order to increase that safety, what you might want to do, especially if you're working with small kids, is make something like this. This is an insect grabber, basically, and it's made out of a very simple plastic container with 2 bendy straws. And what I find is for you guys who actually get meal kits from HelloFresh or Gobble or somebody, that these make perfect cups for this. They're easy to screw off, and so you can get things out of it. And basically the way that this works is you make one straw as the straw that you suck from, and the other straw, the straw that you aim for the small insect. And what happens is, as you suck on this straw, the insect gets pulled in here and gets thrown safely into this receptacle. So I'm going to send you some pictures for how to do this as well after the training. So this is a good way of interacting with maybe little ants and things that might be bitey, and to keep you safe. And you can also take a look at them up close. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some places where you might do well to find some insects and some other life. So every springtime, and I'll ask our wonderful camera person here to show you the front yard. It looks a little bit raggedy right now, but every spring we plant our front yard into a prairie. We've had lots and lots of kids come here and adults with their dogs and take pictures. What you didn't see is this is a carpet of bluebonnets earlier in the year. So anytime you can have flowers anywhere, that's a great place to look for wildlife. So even cultivated flowers or things like that can attract butterflies and moths and things like that. Also, shrubs are a really great place. You know, a lot of insects are looking for shelter, and they're looking for places to hide from birds and other predators. So this is called southern arrowwood that we have here. But what I would draw your attention to rather is to look under leaves, because a lot of times during the midday sun or just to hide, insects are down in the leaves, and if you're looking at it from this perspective, you might not see them. So go ahead and take a look around. Also, if it's a little bit cooler morning at the base of some of these shrubs or trees, things are kind of hunkered down a little bit. Also a great place. One other place is, you know, obviously on the side of your house on these cool mornings in April, lizards and other cold-blooded creatures like butterflies use those as a great place to sun, to warm their bodies up and their muscles up so they can become active. And then there are places that you might have that would also get some wildlife and some plant life going. So we have a small little pond here, and basically what we do is we take the drainage from our air conditioning system and we run it down in here. Now you want to always make sure to not be creating a mosquito hazard, right? So we actually put BT tablets in here to control the mosquitoes so that we're not you know, impacting people with mosquitoes. But it's a great place because things come to grab a little drink of water or to hang out in the plants. Lastly, I'm going to show you another place that is great, and I'll go ahead and reinforce the message we gave earlier. So this is our backyard. This is where this is where we grow our plants that we're going to put in the front yard or in other places. But this compost bin over here is a really great place to find insects, especially and even crustaceans like pill bugs and sow bugs. But it's also a place that you need to be comfortable with in exploring and safe, right? So that's why when we are going to do the City Nature Challenge with my son, who's 5, we're going to use a snake stick to kind of pull everything back and look very safely, okay? Other than that, I think that the great news is that wildlife is everywhere if you learn to look. One other suggestion I would have for you is to go out at night in the evening. Look around your porch lights, your outside lights, mercury light in the street. There's bound to be lots of different things there. And also record for sound. So one of the great things about a lot of these smartphones that people have today is they have voice memos or voice recorders. Use that because you can upload sound files to iNaturalist as an observation. And a lot of times we don't pay enough attention to sound, we're paying attention to the visuals. So I'm going to show you in later on in the training how you upload a sound. In this case, a bat sound that we got when we recorded it with a special app. All right, well, thank you very much for joining me for our outside tour.